What's up, losers? Today I'm back for another r/fatlogic bonanza, taking a look at a few provocative fat acceptance posts, and sharing my opinions on them. This is episode 76 in the fatlogic series, and I'm mighty curious to see what outrageous claims I'll be responding to on this occasion. So without further ado, let's get into it.
If we're all going to die regardless, why do we need to be thin? For the past week, it seems there's been an excessive amount of fat phobia. You could die in a car crash today, but as long as you're skinny, right, just eat y'all's chicken breast and broccoli in silence.
Whoa, that was deep. Like, think about it, guys. Did you know you're going to gulps die one day? I guess you might as well cancel that gym membership now, 'cause it won't do you much good when you're buried 6 feet deep. Kidding aside though, I think this post really misses the mark in its attempt to debunk thinness, or whatever, because it doesn't seem to get the whole notion of trying to live a pleasant and fulfilling life, in spite of the inevitability of death. Which is pretty weird, considering that this is basically the core dilemma of any human life. And I would have thought that most people have given it at least a little thought at one point or another. But I guess not. So just to clarify, people are not trying to become skinny so that they will be skinny when they die. They are losing weight in order to give themselves as long, healthy, and satisfying a life as possible. Because believe it or not, being obese, getting type 2 diabetes, and dying decades ahead of one's time is not an appealing life trajectory for most people, even if, ultimately, any life trajectory will terminate with death, one way or another. As for the car crash, sure, sudden death could await any of us on any given day, but considering that this is a statistical improbability, it might be better to prepare for the possibility that you don't die in the immediate future, so that when that runaway truck or stray lightning bolt fail to eventuate, you have some semblance of having your sheet together to fall back on. At least that's what I would do. Still, I don't actually hate this post all that much, even if it is pretty meaningless, because it's preferable to haze. I don't believe that most fat people just want to lie down and die. I think they want to live the best lives just like anyone else. So I'm not that worried about this kind of messaging convincing anyone. And for those whom it hasn't convinced, all I'll say is, I believe in you, and it's never too late to turn things around.
Even a slight calorie deficit can lead to weight cycling, preoccupation with food, body dissatisfaction, disordered eating, and any other negative health outcome associated with any diet out there. Yes, even a small calorie deficit with the intent of weight loss is, in fact, a diet.
Okay, but who cares? Diet is just a word. Whether you call it that or not really makes no difference. What actually matters are the benefits and accompanying risks that calorie restriction can bring. And this post is, shall we say, less than even-handed in its representation of these two sides of the ledger. For one thing, it straight up ignores the positive changes that can be achieved by lowering one's calorie intake. Decreased susceptibility to a plethora of conditions, greater mobility, improved quality of life, not a one so much as mentioned. Reading this post, you'd think that weight loss was invented for the sole purpose of punishing people and making them feel bad about themselves. The risks that the post offers are, admittedly, real, but they're not things that one will inevitably encounter if one attempts to diet. Because plenty of people manage to lose weight without experiencing any of them. And on top of that, they are issues that a lot of people develop even without dieting. This post tries to put all the blame for people's problems related to eating and body image at the feet of dieting. As if diet is some witch's curse that will ruin one's life if one allows it to so much as pass their lips. When in reality, things are a lot more complicated than that. All in all, deciding whether one should lose weight, and how to go about it, should be based on a reasonable assessment of the advantages and disadvantages for the individual in question. If someone is already at a healthy weight, and has a history of disordered eating, might it be unwise to pursue further weight loss? Absolutely. But if someone is obese, and wants to run a moderate calorie deficit for a while to reach a healthier weight, this seems like a totally reasonable course of action to me, and discouraging them from doing so by fearmongering about this and that is not protecting them. It is holding them back, and ensuring that they remain trapped in a bad situation, which is not what anyone who really cares about them should want to see.
No sheet. The weight loss industry, / weight-focused physicians, don't want anyone glorifying obesity. If word gets out how fatness is nothing to be afraid of, and that there are fat people everywhere living glorious lives, they would be out of a job. Don't let them fool you that it's about anyone's well-being, except their bank accounts.
Oh boy, I love it when they get all conspiratorial like this, as if they're unraveling some grand plot, or deciphering the Matrix, or something, rather than just spouting a bunch of loony BS without evidence to make themselves feel better about the poor life choices. This shouldn't have to be explained, but here I go anyway. The fact that there might be a monetary incentive attached to something like promoting weight loss does not imply that the issue of obesity is made up or overblown. It just means that one should be careful, and do the due diligence in ensuring that they seek advice from trained professionals with a code of ethics, and not random quacks and shysters, of which, admittedly, the diet sphere has its fair share, but also of which the Haze community almost entirely consists. This post says that if word got out about how being fat is nothing to be afraid of, people wouldn't want to diet. But this just makes less than no sense. Like, who do they think are the ones trying to diet? Most of these people are themselves fat. They clearly have an intimate understanding of what life as a fat person is like, and they're not happy with it. Telling these people about the apparently glorious lives that a bunch of other fat people are living is not going to convince them that dieting is a waste of time. Because if they thought that being fat was glorious, they wouldn't have attempted a diet in the first place now, would they? The reality is that being fat is not glamorous, or fun, or cool, for most people, and it's not healthy for anyone. These are all things that the majority of the population understands. And for this reason, I can kinda agree with the post that some of the alarmism over people glorifying obesity might be a tad excessive. Because speaking personally, it wouldn't matter how many cringy fat pride TikToks you showed me. I would never for a moment consider getting fat to join in on the fun. But maybe that's just me. Let me know if you disagree, haha. But yeah, what really bothers me isn't so much the glorification of obesity in terms of making fatness seem cool or appealing, but actual misinformation like Haze, which attempts to obscure the real threat that obesity represents to someone's life and health. Because this deprives fat people of the chance to make informed decisions about the diet and lifestyle, and lulls them into a false sense of security that will come back to bite them in the long run. So I guess my rules of play are trying to make fatness seem cool by flexing how apparently awesome your life is. Fine, whatever, I don't think you'll convince many people regardless. But lying, misleading people, and spreading false information to keep fat people from waking up and smelling the coffee. Yeah, that's not it. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed reading these posts with me, and that you got something worthwhile out of my commentary. What do you think? Should we all just give up on being thin? Because we might die in a car accident. Should a small calorie deficit be considered a diet? And are diets the worst thing in the world? Is the weight loss industry worried about the glorification of obesity because it's a shady cabal that is conspiring to take all of our money? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll replace all of your favorite foods with chicken breast and broccoli, and force you to eat it in silence, while I lecture you about the infernal transience of life. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.